Let's imagine Fargo in winter. And I don't mean the cozy holiday, fresh blanket of snow kind of Fargo. I mean after that, right? When the charm fades and we're all just here questioning our life choices. Yeah, this is when most people hibernate or flee. But for me, at 26 years old, I found North Dakota's winter calling me home, saying, hey, I have something for you here. I was broke and heartbroken and in need of a change anyway, so I thought, if I could be happy in Fargo in winter, I could be happy anywhere. So I left my life in the Rocky Mountains, and I stared down Old Man Winter, actual footage here, and I asked him, why here, why now? And Winter answered. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the wisdom that that season offered me would get me through much harsher winters ahead. And I want to share some of that wisdom with you today. The wisdom of the seasons, the ones outside and the ones in our lives, and how aligning them helps us trust our timing, our healing, and our truths in a world that constantly wants to override it. Now, seasonal living is not a new idea. It is ancient. And we've seen it in traditions all over the world, like Ayurveda from India, traditional Chinese medicine, the Celtic wheel of the year, the medicine wheel of the tribes of North America, just to name a few of them, all reminding us that we are not separate from nature, but we're meant to move with it. But modern life dilutes these rhythms into quick fixes and trends, and they sell this ideal of constant summer, always growth, always output, with no room for rest, reflection, or reset. But that's just not how it goes, right? And we need to really embrace all of the seasons because each one has something important to offer. Eco-psychology research states that simple rituals tied to nature can decrease anxiety and increase feelings of emotional well-being. And that aligning with these simple rituals like moon phases, sunlight, and the seasons, they can actually increase feelings of connection and balance. Sounds pretty good, right? More connection, less anxiety, more balance. They can be yours by tuning into the seasons and the cycles and weaving them into their everyday life. So, seasonal living is having a moment in the wellness space right now, which I love. But remember that it is not a trend. And a lot of these healthy trends can lead to unhealthy ways of thinking. Like, when was the last time a wellness trend made you feel really good about yourself? Like an influencer made you feel like, yes, I'm doing it, right? They sell this inspiration while discarding your own intuition, and you end up chasing a version of somebody else's success and trapping you in a comparison and empty promises. So Christy Harrison, in her book, The Wellness Trap, says wellness culture is a trap, keeping us stuck in a narrow view of what it means to be well. That the wellness culture is not the path to achieving meaning, joy, relatedness. It's just one of the many obstacles standing in the way. See, the danger isn't in just what the wellness industry sells, it's in what it teaches. That there's this right way to heal, to live. But it doesn't really lead to anything significant. But what if our wellness trends, or what if our healing practices felt less like a checklist, but more like a compass? One that guides your true direction even when you feel lost. This is the framework of what I want to share with you, is that things happen. And the thing about the seasons is they're not perfect. And we try to fit them into these categories of perfection. Oh, now it's time for winter, now it's time for summer, now it's time for this and that. And we really have to trust our own path. And so what I'm about to say, I know we're all busy, and I know that, it's overwhelming to think of like, oh, what's this new wellness thing? Okay, what is this girl up there gonna tell me that I have to do now? And what I'm about to teach you helps you create a seasonal lifestyle that no matter the season you're in, because our inner seasons don't always match our outer season, right? But there's this framework that I found over the years that will help you no matter where you're at. And I call it nature's clarity compass. We've got winter, that's for listening. That's for quiet observation and rest. Spring is for trying, planting new ideas, and experimenting. Then we've got summer, that's for taking action and growing with confidence. And then we got autumn, which is for reflecting and harvesting your lessons and letting go. And then at the center is your own inner compass, your inner wisdom, that true north needle that guides you. And then this is the magic that happens, is that when we support whatever inner season we're in with the seasons of nature outside, this is when it becomes your own unique practice that's catered just for you and your life. So you could also look at this as a Venn diagram. You got your personal season, and then you got the season of nature outside, and then they come together for your most supportive path forward. Couple of examples. We got an inner winter, but it's spring outside. You do your spring cleaning or get out for morning walks, but you do it slowly and as a meditation and checking in with yourself. Then we've got, say you're in inner summer, but it's the middle of winter. Keep taking action and end your busy days with some grounding practices and some of those cozy foods that we love. This is a living and breathing system with no set timeline or expectations. And you don't have to be an expert in this to do this, okay? There are wonderful traditions and practices you can discover, but you can just look out your window and see what the plants and animals are doing, and then let those rhythms inspire your own. And then your inner compass guides you to your practice, the ones that's most right for you for right now, okay? So this seasonal alignment works so well because we see this pattern everywhere, and it's already flowing you through the natural cycle of things. Now, I'll share a personal story real quick of how this influenced my own life, and I saw this pattern looking back, and that's with my own personal journey with depression that started back in high school. And I was doing medication, therapy, and it all helped me to a point, but I was muting that inner wisdom part of myself at that time. So I went into an inner winter, and if you've been there, you know. And I really sat with that part of myself, and I tried to really understand what was going on and what it was trying to tell me. So then that led me into an inner spring in my early 20s. I moved to the mountains, I explored yoga and different types of therapy, and those things really nurtured this part of myself. And I realized that my depression wasn't a fault, but it was just a friend that was trying to signal to me that something was off and something needed some extra care. So then came the summer of confidence. I deepened my practices. I became a yoga teacher, massage therapist, studied herbalism, and I just created a lifestyle that was more authentic to me. And then was the autumn of feeling at home with myself, and I built a business to help others, and I realized that my sensitivity was a superpower and not something that needed to be cured. So you might see this pattern in your own life as you look back, that you maybe have followed the seasons in a similar way. But now it's about sprinkling in the magic of letting the season outside and those wise practices support you through it. So years after I moved back to Fargo, I was thriving in an inner summer. I was doing all the things. I had gotten married, and I was growing this great business in this wonderful community. But burnout comes for all of us eventually, and I could tell I needed to slow down. But that comparison trap, that wellness trap, it's so real, and it can sneak in even when you know better. And that perfectionism really kept me from following my practices. And I just wanted that inner summer to keep going. But then March 2020 happened, and we were all forced to pause. And the day after I had to close the door to my studio, I found out I was pregnant with my first. It was spring outside, but I knew that there was this inner winter coming on. But I'd been here before, and I had my practices and this inner compass thing going on. And I used spring's hopeful energy to nest and prepare. And I just embraced all of the seasonal practices throughout the year to nurture me through the most demanding time of my life. And that winter, that inner winter, it lasted a lot longer than I thought it would, as they tend to do in these parts. But I had to keep reminding myself that there's more to gain from embracing it than resisting it. And a couple years and another baby later, I feel like I'm just coming out of it, like right now. If you can't tell. Hello, world. This is the beauty of the seasons. There is no endpoint or place that you need to be. You're just somewhere in the cycle. So I no longer fear winter, literal or personal, and each season has something to offer, and each one prepares us for what's next. And living this way, it really does, it brings more joy and more confidence and less overwhelm and confusion. So next time you're feeling lost in the noise of the world, just look to nature and take a mindful breath. You can do that with me right now. And let that inner compass needle settle. And ask yourself, what season am I in? How can I let nature's seasons support me? And let that be your compass. Let it guide you home and trust your own path. Because the season that you're in right now is exactly where you're meant to be. Thank you.